pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting was provided to the Westfield Leader advertised on January 9, 2014. Notification was sent to the Star Ledger and prominently posted on the Municipal Public Bulletin Board and filed in the office of the Municipal Clerk, informing the public of the time and place according to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Law, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. At this time, I want to remind you to please turn off your cell phones and Blackberries. And if you must take a call, do it out in the hall. And I must apologize to all of you in here because I went into the executive session. I thought my phone was open. I heard that it was ringing and calling me. So, happens to everybody. Roll call, please, Ms. Ariel.
Mayor Quattrocki?
Here.
Council President Palmer? Here. Councilman Martin?
Here.
Councilman Matthews?
Here.
Councilman Mearstead?
Present.
Councilman Petrozelli?
Here.
And Councilman Fisco? Here.
Regular meeting of the mayor. Minutes, please, Ms. Ariel.
You're at the end? I like that.
Right
Go ahead.
Regular meeting of the mayor and council held on March 11, 2014. Executive session of the mayor and council held on March 11, 2014. Workshop session of the mayor and council held on March 11, 2014. Special budget meeting of the mayor and council held on March 6, 2014.
Are there any corrections or changes? May I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented, Mayor.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Ariana, communications, please.
New Jersey State League of Municipalities Mayor's Fax Advisories.
Received and filed.
Comcast channel changes.
Received and filed.
Union County Board of Chosen Freeholders Ordinance.
Received and filed.
Township of Union Resolution.
Received and filed. Ordinances. This evening, we have a public hearing on ordinance 14-04. And what is this number supposed to be? 14-05.
It's supposed to be 14-05.
Okay. It will be now at 14-05, ladies and gentlemen, as advertised in the Westfield Leader on March 13, 2000. Ms. Ariana, please read the ordinance 14-04 by title only.
Yes, Mayor, an ordinance to amend Article 12, commuter parking of Chapter 21, traffic and parking of the revised ordinance of the Borough of Garwood, 1974, to establish a commuter parking area at John F. Kennedy Plaza and to establish regulations therefore.
Do we have any correspondence concerning ordinance 14-04?
None, Mayor.
Is there anyone present who wishes to discuss ordinance 14-04? Motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 14-04.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion to adopt ordinance 14-04.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance number 14-04.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? There being none, roll call please, Ms. Ariana. Okay.
Council President Palmer.
Aye.
Sorry, I'm in the wrong. Council President Palmer.
Aye.
Councilman Martin.
Aye.
Councilman Matthews.
Aye.
Councilman Mearstead.
Yes.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Aye.
And Councilwoman Tedisco.
Aye.
And moving right along, Ms. Ariana, please read ordinance 14-05. By title only.
In calendar year 2014, model ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank, NJSA 40A 4-4514.
Is there any correspondence concerning ordinance 14-05?
None, Mayor.
Is anyone present wish to be heard concerning ordinance 14-05?
Good evening,
Mayor Petracci, ladies and gentlemen of the council, Bruce Patterson, 5 Little Avenue. I've come up here a couple of times on this issue. And, you know, at this point, I understand that it is a done deal, but at least you're allowing the Congress to do one more time. And I just want to express my disappointment that I requested that this, the COLA ordinance and the cap bank ordinance be split, and unfortunately, you didn't agree to that you wanted to combine it, and therefore, I understand the vote will probably be unanimous, or maybe we'll have one no on this. But I just want to reiterate that I feel disappointed on this, that I would have liked to seen it split, so that when you were going to vote on the separate ordinance of the cap bank, I would have liked to hear you express your sentiments on that. And also, I would have liked to hear your sentiments in being faced that the budget was going to increase over the appropriation limit, which I understood and explained it during the budget hearing. So, but I just want to express my disappointment, and I if this comes up again, I'm going to speak on the same issue, that you really should keep this as two separate ordinances. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Condit.
Oh, one last question. Obviously, you're establishing a cap bank, and there's going to be money going into it, and I do understand what cap bank is, and there is no tangible money. But how much money is going into this cap bank? The finance chair?
Do you have the exact number, Tina? I don't think I have it with me.
It's in the ordinance, isn't it?
Yeah, let me double check here.
Here.
I don't have that. Right, I don't have the ordinance.
Yeah.
It's on there?
I don't think it was that much money.
No, it's not, because it's not that much, because this is the first time
0.5.
it's banking.
The fourth paragraph,
That's to 173. And
That's
I
the
think
whole
it's the
reason.
difference between 202 and 173, so about 27,000, right? There it is. Well, that's about, if you want me to put it
No,
on.
roughly, I
It's about
I
27,000.
live
No
by
problem.
Thank you very much.
is there anyone else present who wishes to be heard concerning ordinance 14-05? There being no one else, may I have a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 14-05?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 14-05?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 14-05, Mayor.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor, I just have a quick question on this, since you broke the tie on this the last 2 years, and I have a feeling it's not gonna happen this year. I know you were mulling over your position on this. Have you come to a conclusion about where you are on this particular ordinance?
Yeah, I believe that I need to, make sure that there are adequate method for some funding, due to the fact that there are certain things that we may be confronted with going forward this year, and that's all I'm prepared to say at this time. Is there any other further discussion? There being none, roll call please, Ms. Ariano.
Council President Palmer? Aye. Councilman Martin?
Aye.
Councilman Matthews?
Aye.
Councilman Niersted?
Yes.
Councilman Petrozelli?
Aye.
And Councilwoman Fedisco?
Aye.
We'll move on to committee reports. Councilman Martin, please.
Yes, Mayor. The Police Committee hereby recommends the adoption of resolution number 14-173 for the promotion of Officer Zakarowski from Class D Patrolman to Class C Patrolman, and the adoption of resolution number 14-174 for the promotion of Officer Haran from Class D to Class C Patrolman. The committee also recommends the adoption of resolution number 14-172, appointing Thomas Zuzak as alternate school crossing guard. That is all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you. You approved the report of police. Do I have a motion to accept?
Be received and spread across the minutes, recommendations there and be adopted.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Mayor, point of order, I also have a report on the Police Negotiations Committee. When would you like me to read that? Now, or-
After the
Point.
first of this report's accepted.
Well, why don't we get this part done and then we'll back up to, go back to that.
Sure.
Okay, because we already have a motion and a second.
Yeah.
Are there any comments on those three? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Councilman, you may continue since you have another.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a report on the Police Negotiations Committee. The police contract negotiations committee has met on 2 occasions. We've received and reviewed in great detail the current contract to determine a plan on behalf of the borough for the negotiations. After discussing our plan, we are recommending the borough seek outside counsel to participate in the negotiation process. We are recommending the adoption of resolution number 14-171, authorizing the borough administrator clerk to prepare the request for proposals. That is all from my report.
Thank you. You have heard the report of police regarding PDA contract negotiations. Do I have a motion to accept?
Motion to accept, be received.
Spread across the minutes. I forget, I can read it.
And do I have a
Sorry.
second?
I didn't do that.
Second.
Thank you.
No problem.
Are there any comments?
Yes, Mayor, one question. I believe that the putting out an RFP for the attorney for these negotiations was anticipated in the budget money there for that, correct?
Correct.
That's what. Thank you.
I would just like to ask a question too, just for the record's sake as well. In seeking counsel, what about our current counsel? Could you speak to that a little bit before, especially considering the resolutions on the consent agenda? I just want to make sure we really understand the rationale behind that.
Sure. We've spoken with council, borough council, and borough council is not interested in recommending that.
I'd rephrase that.
Yeah,
I recommend that you
Because
obtain
that's
outside
outside,
counsel
sorry.
because I want to make sure that the borough maximizes its efforts in negotiations.
There we go.
Thank
Thank you.
Well, I have to say, I do appreciate hearing that sentiment, considering our attorney's right here. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I just got a question on that. I guess I'm a little surprised that and I guess we've had a personnel change up here. I thought that we were kind of not happy last time around with using outside counsel. That was the first time we had done that, at least done that in a while. And I wonder what's the thinking on that, is it just based on Mr. Reynolds' recommendation, or is there something else? Because again, my recollection from that, and Lou, maybe remember differently, I thought we kind of weren't thrilled.
Doesn't mean we're gonna hire the same guy.
Okay, well, fair enough, if that's it.
Right.
So that's an answer right there. So then Councilman Martin said we're basically going with the concept of using outside counsel. But, okay. Good.
Any further comments? If not, we have motion been made and seconded. We've commented. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Public Health, Councilwoman Fishman.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I attended the last meeting with Board of Health on March 19th. I was only able to stay actually for the first half due to another commitment, but I also reviewed the written reports that were presented. An audit was conducted on the YMCA preschool, and they found a compliance rate of 96% for vaccinations, and that was taking place in January. A re-audit in February showed a 100% compliance rate. Also, in January and February, 22 and 18 Garwood seniors were seen at blood pressure screenings respectively. The board discussed an issue raised to my attention by Councilman Neerstedt last week about how certain pesticides are killing large numbers of honeybees. I forwarded them multiple articles that Councilman Neerstedt sent to me. And although a discussion took place and the members of the board definitely seemed intrigued to learn about this issue, they felt it really was not a public health issue, which the health officer agreed with. and they have decided not to take action on this at this time. Or rather in general, I don't think it's at this time, just in general. They really have decided not to take action on this. They feel it would be the job of an environmental commission if we had one, for instance. Also, I informed the board that the Streets and Roads Committee decided they did not want to spray the vegetation in the brook this year and to see what happens for a year in regards to the rat issue. And the health officer spoke, as did the members of the board that evening. They're not in agreement with the committee's recommendation and actually feel the borough should take a more proactive approach, if anything. Instead of just spraying when residents make rat complaints, they would like this to be done before the complaints come in. The health officer also added that Rollway is not currently using the Rollway River as a drinking source because of all the salt that's been on the roads has now washed into the river. However, she did want to point out that regardless, water is tested daily and treated, and that there's no chance of contamination. With all that said, as liaison to the Board of Health, I tend to agree with the board and would like to see some action taken by the council. I was also reviewing a printout the Finance Committee received about buildings and grounds, and I see that the management of the brook vegetation is actually paid out of that department. Therefore, I personally feel as though perhaps this should be reviewed by the Buildings and Grounds Committee, as it seems to be the right committee to handle this. Have them review the findings of Councilman Neerstedt that he raised to our attention, and also learn more about what the health officer is saying about this issue. The Board of Health also urged action to be taken sooner than later. So that's really up to you to decide, Mayor, but that's all for my report.
Thank you very much. You have heard the report of public health. Will have a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Do you have a second? Any comments?
I have a question, Mayor. If you do so choose to assign this to the Buildings and Grounds Committee, and that committee makes a different recommendation than Streets and Roads, is it too late, and I guess maybe my question is to Tina, is it too late to then spray the brook now? I didn't know if that was a time-sensitive issue.
The company that sprays the brook has to get a permit from DEP first, and that's what takes a while. That's why they started so early, the process. So the longer we wait to do that, yes, it would interfere with our ability to spray the brook. Well, I do have the paperwork from the company. And once you wait till the vegetation starts growing, then spraying it really doesn't take it away. When they spray it, it's just starting to grow. Once it becomes voluminous, spraying it is not efficient.
Well, I remember you had made a recommendation for a certain time period for us to do that. Are we past that?
No, not right at this moment in time, no.
Okay.
I think what I'd like to do at this point in time, thank you very much for your, any other comments?
Mayor,
You
just
have
so
to act
that,
fast, though.
just so the residents understand, okay, and don't be little concerned about the honeybees, just so everyone recognizes what I'm talking about, and we'll take out the ticket again some later time. Bottom line is Home Depot and Lowe's, they sell an insecticide that is, has already been banned in Europe, and what it does is it kills honeybees. Not purposely, but through chemically it does. And what they're finding is, I'm sure everyone knows that well over 50% of our vegetables and fruits are pollinated by bees. And if we continue to kill them, bye-bye our home vegetable gardens, bye-bye growing tomatoes and everything else in the backyard. There simply won't be enough. So I am disappointed by the Board of Health passing the buck to a group that doesn't exist. I don't really think is stand-up-ish, if that's a word. So I'll take it up in a different manner. I am disappointed with the Board of Health, though, and if you could pass that back to them, I'd appreciate it. And the second thing is, as far as the brook, I mean, I hope everybody remembers that the recommendation, even by the Board of Health, wasn't sprayed every year. It was sprayed every other. So I don't know why we'd be back going through this again.
Well, as of last week, when I spoke with them about it, there are some members of the Board of Health that have been there quite a few years, and they said that when they were first on the Board of Health then, whenever that was, maybe 10, 15 years ago, maybe more, I'm not really sure. The borough did take more of a proactive approach And then at some point in time, it changed to just when we got complaints. I believe, though, the actual spraying was taking place each year. Is that true, Tina?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And I'll repeat, it wasn't based upon complaint, the recommendation was every other year. The borough might have sprayed it every year, but that was totally unnecessary. The recommendation was every other.
But that it would not get sprayed this year.
This would be the second year since we did spray last year, that's
Right.
correct.
Okay, here's what I'd like to do at this point. Any other comments further?
Yeah, just real quick, man, just to put my 2 cents in on this, the reason I supported Councilman Neerstedt on this issue was, and I don't share his environmental concerns here, but he brought up a very valid question of, does spraying vegetation equal less rats? If you answer that question in the affirmative for me, then spray. But I think the councilman brought up a very important issue of, does one follow from the other? And I don't think that it's clear that it does. It's being said that the vegetation is being killed as a secondary way of killing the rats. If someone can confirm for me that that's the case, I'm all for it. But I think the councilman's brought up a very valid concern. Is that the case?
Well, just to add, to follow up with that, the Board of Health does feel it's necessary. I mean, I believe it should get investigated further. That's what they're saying, that's what the health officer's saying. As far as the process goes, they're spraying the vegetation to get rid of that so that they can bait the brook. That's the connection to the rats. However, this is why personally, when I look at this issue, and I've heard what Councilman Neerstedt has said, I sit at the Board of Health meeting, I hear what they say, I hear what the health officer says. That's why I feel like perhaps it would be best to go to another committee, which happens to have a couple of the same members, to maybe look at this in an overall sense and see what they come to. And that's all I'll say.
All right, at this point in time, we're gonna refer the matter to, Buildings and Grounds, because that's where it should be. And for those of you out there, Councilman Neerstedt, I believe, is also on that committee, so there'll be plenty of opportunity to voice his concerns with regard to that. And I would like to add that committee, which, is Mr. Petrozelli's if possible, because we do have a little bit of a time concern here. If we can get everybody together and come back to the next meeting with some sort of something. So that we know.
I already sent out an email asking the group to have a meeting, so.
All right, good, thank you. I do appreciate that. Okay, we've had a comment, we've made a decision, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Streets, roads, and ecology, Councilman Neerstedt.
Mayor, just one item. As you know, and the committee members of the Streets and Roads Committee know, a resident did raise an issue regarding speeding on and other issues on Fourth Avenue, and you indicated that you would be forwarding that to the Police Committee
Yeah.
for their. And I ask that you formally do so, and I ask that the Police Committee address those issues appropriately.
Yes, I will. Those issues, just so you know as well, Mr. Neerstedt, have been looked at a couple of times, but I think it's time that it does go to the Police Committee, and if you can speak with the Councilman Martin with regard to that. I also have spoken to the gentleman,
Yeah.
so.
And just so that Mayor knows, it's similar to Second, in that Second Avenue had the parking issue raised, and it's been addressed, but keeps coming back.
Yeah, keep
This
it
is an
going.
also an issue for those who live on Fourth. It's an issue that keeps coming back, and I think since the issue and the concern is still out there and expressed by the residents on the street, we haven't adequately addressed it. I don't know what the answer is, but we need to do something. Thank you. And that's it, Mayor.
Okay, your further report of the street, roads, and ecology. Do I have a motion to accept?
Be received and spread across the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other comments? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Fire, Councilman Massey.
No report, Mayor.
Finance, Councilwoman Tedisco.
Thank you, Mayor. The Finance Committee has met since our last council meeting, and I would like to share with everyone a couple changes to the municipal budget based on some new information that we have received over the past 2 weeks. These changes are reflected in the budget as it is before us tonight for a vote for introduction. First, a couple technical changes related to the planning board with no impact to the bottom line of the budget. And these issues and ideas really for change were brought up at the special budget meeting. And what they do is they include a move of $2,500 from planning board salaries and wages to planning board legal fees. A move of zoning code enforcement salaries and wages from planning board to administrative and executive salaries and wages. And a move of zoning code review officer salaries and wages from planning board to the administrative and executive salaries and wages. So again, these are not changing the bottom line, but based on a suggestion made at the special budget meeting that was discussed, was decided that these would be the more appropriate places. There were some other changes made with an effect on the bottom line of the budget. Another change was as a result of the special budget meeting, and that was a reduction of the paperboard redevelopment plan in the planning board budget by $5,000, from $25,000 to $20,000, as recommendation by the planning board liaison. And this was discussed, and the redevelopment will be funded properly, even given this slightly lower amount, just so everyone's aware. Also, the implementation of COA was reduced from $13,000 to $8,500 based on a quote that was received, which reflects a decrease of $4,500. Based on a new letter from the RVSA, we actually needed to increase that line by almost $4,000, by $3,949 to be exact. So the new total going to the RVSA is $539,315. Also, we received notice that we have spent approximately $17,000 on salting the roads this year so far. As we know, we've paid out also about $25,000 in overtime to the DPW workers so far, based on the really horrendous winter we've had. Everyone knows about that. On the bright side, we just learned yesterday that our revised employer pension bill, and basically we have a reduction there of approximately $30,000. So we decided to put, perfect timing really for this, I guess. We decided to put $20,000 in the snow removal line and use the remaining $10,000 for taxpayer relief. As you know, the snow removal line can be used for salt, overtime, and other costs associated with snow removal. This allows us to properly fund the budget based on our knowledge without having to tap into or deplete the snow bank, which we have been accumulating. This year, the snow bank would total $7,500. Also, by putting that money into the snow removal line, any excess will roll into the snow bank rather than into surplus as it would if it were put in the department's budgets. We hope that we do not see so many winter storms like this in the future, but at least we've properly budgeted for this year and have also been able to save our snow bank for future years. With all this said, I do have some good news. The budget before you tonight has a lower tax impact than the one at the special budget meeting. This budget contains a $39 tax increase per home assessed at $100,000, as opposed to the $44 we originally expected. We're looking at about $3.25 a month per home assessed at $100,000. This new increase reflects just slightly more than a 1% tax levy increase, or 1.03% to be exact. Again, this is the lowest tax increase we've seen in the past 12 years. So that's all for my finance report, Mayor.
Thank you. You have heard the report of finance. Do I have a motion to accept?
Be received and spread across the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any comments?
Yes, Mayor, I'd just like to say that those numbers sound excellent. Again, I'd like to say excellent job to Councilwoman Disco and the Finance Committee. The fact that the numbers are lower than initially presented is great news, and good job.
Thank you. Any other comments? Thank you very much, Mrs. Disco. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Buildings and Laws and licenses, Council President Palmer.
Thank you, Mayor. There's one application for a raffle license this evening. The Laws and License Committee recommends the adoption of Resolution 14167 for the application of one off-premise 50/50 raffle to be drawn on March 7th at the Westwood by Rawway Honorary PBA Local 31. Also, Mayor, Laws and License Committee is currently working on two issues with Mr. Renaud. We're working to draft an ordinance to regulate dumpsters on roads and driveways. We hopefully will have something for you to review soon. Also, at the last meeting, residents spoke up about commuter parking on the north side of town, specifically Second Avenue, but there's issues on other streets besides Second Avenue. And I've been in communication with the chief on this issue, and we will be discussing this further in committee to bring forward a resolution that hopefully works for everyone. That is all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you. You have heard the report of laws and licenses. Do I have a motion to accept?
Be received and spread across the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Recommendation there being adopted.
Yes, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Recreation, Councilman Petrozelli.
Thank you, Mayor. Children's ceramics will be April 1st in the school cafeteria from 3 to 4 p.m. Also, the Recreation Committee welcomed new member Christine Froden, and they're still seeking to fill a couple more spots, so if we can, hopefully get some more members for that. That's all for my report.
Thank you. You have heard the report of recreation. Do I have a motion to accept?
Be received and spread across the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any comments? All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Committee on Aging, Council President Palmer.
Thank you, Mayor. The seniors are planning their lunch currently, and this year will be held at the Westwood again on June 26th, and any seniors who would like to attend can either contact me or I'm sure they can contact Borough Hall and get information on that. And the calendar for the next 3 months' events will be being mailed soon, and if anyone would like to receive a copy of that calendar, you can also contact Paulette Drogan, or you can see me after the meeting and I'll forward the information. And that is all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you very much. You have heard the report of the Committee on Aging. Do I have a motion to accept?
Be received and spread across the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comments?
Just one comment. I did RSVP to that, but I didn't actually get in contact with Paulette. I just left a voicemail, so if you want
Okay.
follow up on
I'll
that. I'm
follow
not
up
sure
on
if she got it or not, but this year I'm able to make it, so I'm
Okay,
excited.
very good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Library, no report tonight. School Board Liaison, Councilwoman Tibisco.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I attended the last meeting of the Board of Education on March 18th, and the New Jersey School Performance Report is now available online. This is the second year of this method of grading schools. When I asked a follow-up question during the public portion, it was stated that we had shown some improvements, but we can also do better. So they seem like they're still having trouble determining exactly where we are because of the new system. However, I would like to personally take a look at that when I get a chance as well. Also, the Board of Education is in negotiations right now. Just wanted to let everyone know that. And the current budget was discussed as a preliminary document at the last school board meeting. Our tuition payment to Clark went down about $900,000 because they agreed on how to a change to how they calculate that tuition payment, and now it's being calculated at cost per pupil. Also, the third bus to ALJ was brought back, which I heard was a controversial issue last year. I read about it in the paper and so forth, and so hopefully this is an addition that will alleviate some of the issues and make the parents and students happier. Let's see. They said the reason for that was there was an increase in enrollment according to the board. The business administrator did not provide a tax impact at this meeting, and the next step for the budget is to go to the county superintendent for review. The public hearing is scheduled for April 29th. Interestingly enough, the board also discussed creating a rotating schedule to our council meetings, and I informed them about how we do a rotating schedule to the county freeholder meeting, so hopefully we have members of the Board of Education here at our meetings as well. Also, I'd like to remind everyone that the annual EFG Appreciation Dinner will be April 24th at the Westwood, starting at 6:30 p.m. You can get tickets through an EFG member or from the school. They're still $45 a person. The Educator of the Year was named, and this year it was actually a tie. So teacher Karen McCarrick and school nurse Karen Lukovic will both be honored that evening. And it will also be a 10-year retrospect on the EFG, as it's its 10th anniversary. That's all for my report, Mayor.
You have heard the report of school board liaison. Do I have a motion to accept?
To accept.
Do I have a second? Any comment?
Yes, Mayor, I just want to say I'm glad they are bringing that third bus back, because I was liaison at the time to the school board, and that was an issue, whether there's an extra enrollment or not. At the time, there was a lot of complaints from the parents about there not being enough seating for the children, and crowding, and parents having to drive the kids to school when they got rid of the bus. So that, I'm sure the parents are very happy that their bus is back. So,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Celebration of public events, Councilman Martin.
No report, Mayor.
Union County Air Traffic Noise Advisory Board, Councilman Matthews.
Yeah, Mayor, we had our first meeting of the year last night. It was a relatively informal meeting. Two of the issues that I thought were relevant for us. There's still the debate raging about the helipad for Summit Hospital, and it's noise complaints versus obviously Summit's claim that, you know, you're saving lives by having people in there. And the other thing that it was a very, obviously, like I said, informal meeting, but I didn't want this to go unanswered. The consensus was that there were no increase in noise complaints. I told them I had not heard anything from Garwood, which is true, but I just wanted to confirm if that everyone else's. I would imagine some people would have said something to me had they heard anything.
Oh, yes, you hear a plane going over Garwood, you know there's something going on someplace that shouldn't be. Very honestly. No.
Or a helicopter.
So, yeah, those are, I think, the two most relevant issues for our borough. And that's all for my report.
Thank you, Councilman. You have heard the report of Union County Air Traffic Noise Advisory Board Representative. Do I have a motion to accept?
You received and spread across the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Athletic Field Complex Project Committee Representative, Councilman Picatelli.
Thank you, Mayor. The monthly construction meeting was held March 19th at Borough Hall. In attendance were the mayor, borough administrator, police chief, DPW superintendent, professionals for the project, Flanagan's Construction, and a representative from New Jersey American Water. The water company will be replacing the water main on the 100 block of Myrtle. The current pipe size is 2-inch cast iron. The water main will be increased to an 8-inch line. The water company will notify all residents affected by the work. The work should start the first week of April and should continue on and off for about 2 to 3 weeks. Plumbing and electrical rough is currently underway at the main building. The siding has also started at the main building as well, the exterior siding. The roofer was at the site today to install snow and ice shield to protect the plywood. Public Service, Electric and Gas has installed the cross sections at the previously installed utility poles that are on New Street and is getting ready to pull their wires through. Public Service is expected to be completed with their end of the work within the next 2.5 weeks. Elizabethtown Gas is expected to be on site this week to start the gas line installation. And Flanagan stated at the meeting that the project is on schedule with the newly revised schedule that was handed out. That's all for my report.
Thank you. You have heard the report of Athletic Field Complex Project Committee Representative. Do I have a motion to accept?
Be received and spread across the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are no officers' reports, I understand. Public comment, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the mayor and council? If so, please step to the microphone and state your full name and address, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. It would be appreciated. There being none, we'll close the public comment portion of the meeting and move on to unfinished business and the consent agenda. Are there any resolutions anyone wants to read from the consent agenda? May I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda as is?
I'll make a motion to adopt the consent agenda as is, Mayor.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please, Ms. Ariano.
Council President Palmer.
Aye.
Councilman Martin. Councilman Matthews.
Aye.
Councilman Newstead.
Yes.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Aye.
And Councilman Fisco.
Aye.
We do have one resolution that has, that's listed separately on the agenda tonight. It's Resolution 14-177, the introduction of the 2014 municipal budget. May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 14-177?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 14-177, Mayor.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Ms. Ariano.
Council President Palmer.
Aye.
Councilman Martin.
Aye.
Councilman Matthews.
Aye.
Councilman Newstead.
Yes.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Aye.
And Councilman Fisco.
Aye.
Thank you. Do we have any new business this evening?
Just real quick, Mayor, we have our Easter egg hunt coming up on April, I believe it's April 5th, Saturday, at Hartman Park. What time is it?
11:30.
11:30?
It's on the board, it's on the write-up board.
Okay,
I think
11:30.
it's 11:30.
Yeah, so April 5th, the rain date is the following day, the Sunday. April 6th, it's at Hartman Park this year. I just wanted to make sure everybody's aware of that.
Is there any other new business for the mayor and council? There being none, we'll move on to payment of claims. Ms. Ariano, please read the claims resolution.
Be it resolved that the following claims as approved be and the same as hereby ordered paid and properly signed and verified, and the payment of favors as is hereby confirmed and ratified.
May I have a motion to adopt the payment of claims?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please, Ms. Ariano.
Council President Palmer.
Aye.
Councilman Martin.
Aye.
Councilman Councilman Matthews.
Aye.
Councilman Newstead.
Yes.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Aye.
And Councilman Fisco.
Aye.
Go. It's fast for you.
It's very fast. I gotta keep track. I told you.
The regular meeting of the mayor and council will be held on Tuesday, April 8th, 2014, in council chambers at 7:15 p.m. Workshop session to start at 7. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, Mayor.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Good night, folks.